friends, welcome to the 4th Anglo-Indian International Reunion. This is an occasion to celebrate who we are as a community.
I have decided being good is just a fable. I just stop because I'm not able. I'm gonna leave it to the Lord. If I just before His holy sin. On a paper and a man will journey, sends a man to journey home.
I tell you, east is east and they say west is west. But in us, ladies and gentlemen, the twain have met.
And believe me, it is Karnataka alone, the government in Karnataka, who has come to our help. They have given us educational facilities, reimbursement of fees, and they have given us reservations. We are turning out a doctor, we are turning out an engineer, we also have polytechnic reservations, and we have fee reimbursement, which means every Anglo-Indian, no matter which school they attend to in the state, their fees is reimbursed by the government. Now, if we, with the good offices of the MLA in Karnataka, have been able to achieve this, what have the association been doing with the other MLAs in the other 8 states where we have constitutional representation? What are they doing to get back a few of these reservations? Our community has collapsed with the withdrawal of our reservations by Mr. Frank Anthony. 25 years, where have we gone? We were running away from India. We who have stayed behind are here trying to look for a better tomorrow. We are there trying for housing. At the moment, we have even come to the stage where the government of Karnataka we've identified the land. We want to put up a school because the present Anglo-Indian schools run under the aegis of the Anglo-Indian Association. Our students cannot pass the ICSE exam from there. It's very difficult. The main problem is housing. We are trying to get the land. We want to see our people in better houses. We are working for that. And, yes, sir, Mr.
What we're saying here, if you say that the rest of the MLAs are doing nothing contrary to what you're saying, then let's get together and remove them. Because they're working.
Why not?
Of our backs.
Why not? We want the other MLAs to do the same, what we have done in Karnataka. I've even approached the Prime Minister. Give us the same concessions in the other states where we have 8 representatives in Parliament. We have 8 representatives. What are they doing about getting us reservations? I've already said that. It's the Anglo-Indian Guild under the aegis of Mr. Fernandez, who represents the Anglo-Indian Guild.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fernandez can't really take all the credit. If he hasn't been able to control and bring the factions together, he's a lost cause.
Excuse me.
In May 1990, we convened under the aegis of the Anglo Guild a meeting of the entire community in Bangalore. And we gave full privilege to the All India Anglo Association. We put them on the dais. We had the verbal assurance that we work together. We said we don't want to be under one umbrella all the time. Let's work as different associations together. But it has never worked out that way for the very simple reason: nobody of the All India Anglo Association in Bangalore can sneeze without the permission of somebody in Delhi. And as long as that situation is there, when your hands are tied behind your back and you're slapped in the face, you can progress nowhere. The second thing I want to tell you, when we got the reservations in Karnataka in 1987, there was an opposition from the All India Anglo Association. I was present in Delhi as the meeting of the Interstate Board for Anglo Education. And no less a person than Mr. Frank Anthony said, don't take this money from the government. His own words, they'll corrupt your institutions. This is the leadership, if any, of the All India Anglo Association. We are called splinter groups, we are called rebellious groups, we are called any goddamn thing under the sun to suit the people who want to make those statements. What have they done? Nothing.
The other MP has made it a point to inform every president of the Anglo-Indian Association have nothing to do with Mrs. Rico because she wants to take us into the backward stage. We are in dire straits with no proper housing and employment.
But not backward.
But it's not backward. We do not suffer from any form of backwardness. But that is the instruction from the All India Anglo-Indian Association.
But first of all, it was you that should have been convening this meeting at the start. We have been here now 2 hours, and without your presence, that doesn't instill anybody to confidence.
I was
You
waiting.
asked me to speak. You asked me to speak. Let me finish.
Yeah, all right.
Secondly is, the most important thing that we want to make out here is if your guild feels that strongly and the Anglo-Indian Association, All India Association is doing nothing, you missed what I had to say earlier. We would like to give you the strength, financially, if necessary.
Thank you. I'll read out this letter to you.
Hang on, let me finish what I said. And then, if necessary, get the lawyers to remove those people that are in office, that are riding on our backs in the Lok Sabha or whatever. And finally, the point that you touched on was what I came here to actually discuss. And I have friends over here talking about the Frank Anthony Trust Fund. I was a social secretary in the Rangers Club years ago, and I remember lakhs of rupees going into that fund that has now gotten to crores of rupees that are gaining compound interest, and nobody is able to access those funds. And what we really wanted to do was to get to the members of the trust fund to see if some way they could loosen those strings and do exactly what you've been saying. And if that's not possible, then let's get together, get the lawyer, and remove them.
Right. The moment we knew that the guild was given the privilege to organize Reunion 4,
Who gave them the privilege?
from the International Federation.
And why aren't they here?
Very good question that you must ask the Federation.
I really don't have many comments, it's more questions. My name is Dolores Chu. I'm originally from Calcutta, but I've been living in Montreal for 22 years. This is the first time I've been able to come to one of the international reunions. Either I didn't know about them or I was unable to get leave. And in a way, I'm glad that I've come to the one that is in India, because I think it's really important that we have it here, because definitely there is an element of nostalgia in the international reunions, but I feel there is a vibrant living community still here, and nostalgia is fine and has a certain place, but if we aren't able to concretize something, then it becomes totally irrelevant, at least as far as I'm concerned, and many of my other Anglo-Indian friends overseas. Now, I am a historian by profession, and some of my research has been on Anglo-Indians. And what I find that from the 19th century till the present day, very little has changed. And I think that's a very bleak statement in terms of identity, in terms of economic status. If you read the petition that John Ricketts took to the House of Lords in 1829-1830, it's talking about the same things that we're talking about today. And when I drove into the Hotel Ashoka yesterday, there was this group outside protesting. And basically they said, we cannot afford, I mean, we don't even earn 1,000 rupees a month. How can we participate here? And I came here to meet Anglo-Indians from the international scene, but more Anglo-Indians who are living here. And I was very distressed to see that. And I would like us to use whatever resources we have, both overseas and within the country, to help people here get on their feet. In terms of the factions, I think that's very normal. I think it's healthy to have divisions of opinions, because that's when things are dynamic and you don't have one idea predominating. Frank Anthony is a very controversial figure. There are those who see him as a hero, and there are others who felt that he stymied things and controlled them. These are differences of opinions, and I think that continues today. I think it's healthy. What is unhealthy is if we just get bogged down in these debates and can't proceed. I think personally we all have different political opinions. Some of us are more conservative, some of us are more liberal and radical. That's going to be there. We aren't a homogeneous community. So I think if we can use this opportunity to start something a little more concrete, I would feel that coming here has meant something to me.
Josh has brought up a very good subject, and I'm afraid that he has been accused of all sorts of things, but I remember writing to Josh in the end of 1996, advising him about charging too much for entrance fees to the events over here. And his very words were, "I am just a servant answering to the master," he says. And what he was referring to, the International Federation that was guiding him and telling him what to do and what not to do. And that was my point to him, to try to ask him to ask the International Federation to reduce some of the entrance fees for the events that we are having here during this week. Now, we were approached to be a member.
My name is Malcolm Newell, by the way. I'm from Oxford. I left India in 1950. My head is buzzing with all the constitutional difficulties that you face. Most of you here, I'm sure, come here to help the poor Anglo Indians. You have lots of money, comparatively, relatively, and you're wanting to give it. Now, the first point is the poor Anglo Indians aren't at this function or any of these functions. They have got to have 2,000 rupees, which is a lot of money for some. I would very much like to see poor Anglo Indians here now to say what they feel, how we can help them. This is Hamlet without the prince. This is a shell, no core, no substance. All rich people we're talking about. No good, no good. Now look, I have no confidence. I've lost confidence. I came with the money in my pocket to give out. I have no confidence in the organization here. I wouldn't give a penny. So I'm not sure it's going to the right place and the right people. I have made up my mind so far that I will give it to people I know. If I have poor relations or relations of relations, I will give it directly to them. Or if I have friends of relations, I will give it to them. I will not give it to any of these organizations.
What we are trying to say is, whatever income we get over and above, the expenditure is going strictly, and you can come out of it any time you like, to help those very people about whom we mentioned. Those people who have no shelter. 60% of the population is roughly 5,000 to 6,000 people do not have their own homes.
Please, take the mic.
Coming to a church hall and having a very simple meal that I could share with more people, paying $100.
Point taken. I'll tell you something. We could have arranged it at church hall, but no liquor was allowed.
And once the election commission got into gear, we could have maybe pulled the dinner out of the Ashoka and made it more.
I had, Australians phoning me, asking me what guarantee of comfort we could guarantee them. What level of comfort we could guarantee them. There were people asking all sorts of ridiculous questions. So we went all out to give you the best.
Probably was the most enlightening experience I had to have to wash cold water, to flush with a bucket after you finished, to support the family on a day-to-day basis. I did it. I was happy to do it. And when I couldn't do it anymore, I left. I want to ask people who are categorizing us rich people to divide that by about 100. We're not rich. The dollar has integral value that multiplies somewhat to our favor. If you think that's rich, it is not. Most of us, myself, living in Australia, we live on plastic money. We batter it. It takes hell of a thrashing. I think I'm concerned about the division of the haves and the have-nots. We're not rich. We would like to help. I think Mr. Newbond done a magnificent job by helping directly. And I know when I go back, my wife says, "Excuse me, your plastic money is looking a little bit battered today." And I'll tell her, and she'll be more than happy. One needs to bear that in mind. I guess the other thing is that I'm really concerned about is, what about culturally rich? You can be poor, you can be rich, but if you don't have it culturally, if you don't take pride in where you come from, if you have no sense of your history, if you don't know who your heroes are, if you don't know about Sikandar, and if you don't know about Hersey, and if you don't know about De Rosio, and if you don't know and are not assisting with the autobiography of Frank Anthony, if you don't know about George Berry other than one passing line, if you don't know about the Keeler brothers other than the context that they shot some Pakistanis down, that's a hell of a thing to say. There's a whole lot more to Anglo-Indian history than one line. And in Melbourne I operate as a cultural activist. For years and years I taught ancient history. Greece, Egypt, Sumeria, the Egyptians, British history. One day I asked myself, where's Anglo-Indian history? And so I wrote off to the Australian government and I said to them that we are a race that under the rhetoric of the British Raj and Kipling in particular, who stereotyped Anglo-Indian males in his stories as spineless and females as whores and fundamentalist post-colonial writers. And out of respect to this country, I won't name them, but read Continent of Circe and you tell me if your blood doesn't boil. There is a battle to be fought there, and that's where I operate. I operate because I feel the need is to operate as a cultural activist. I can't give you money, but I will give you dignity. And hopefully today,
ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to call Mr. Don Ellington.
Distinguished guests, delegates from abroad, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present this paper on the formation of the first Anglo-Indian force. In those early years, from its formation, the first disappointment, the late encouragement, its achievements, etc.
The issues that affect us today, not the past, today and for the future. First of all, we come here and we had a session here this morning that was absolute bedlam. Nobody knew what was happening, and we're further confused, and I'm a lot more composed now talking to you than I was this morning. And the reason for that was, there are so many factions over here, and for us people that have come from abroad, our main concern is what is happening to the people that are left behind. And after that, the meeting and the greeting and the old days, reminiscing in the future. But having 3 and 4 factions and not even having the Anglo-Indian Association and All India Anglo-Indian Association here present makes this meeting really, I don't know what you call it, because they now, the guild are now talking about fixing the next Anglo-Indian reunion without the authority or the consent of the All India Anglo-Indian Association. Then we have 3 or 4 Then we have 3 or 4 other associations or guilds or whatever they're called. So what we're really asking here is, first of all, let's know who is leading the Anglo-Indian Association or the Anglo-Indian, and that is going to be dealing with the future of the Anglo-Indians that concern all of us here.
So, the reason why our President and Chief Major General Williams is not present here today, and not only him, We have got about 70 odd branches all over India. It is a sad occasion that they are not here today. I think I am the only president from any branch of the All India Anglo Society present here. I am a Bangalore based. Well, I would like to stay with you all here. My dear friends who come from abroad, please do not get hurt for whatever has taken place here. And it is just an ego, or whatever you may say, that the All India Anglo Society has not combined with this view. We have got our own principles, and I think it is absolutely right that each one has taken their own way.
I was present, physically present at the meeting in Perth when the query was raised, who will host the next Anglo reunion? I piped up and said Calcutta, but because I belong to CAIS, I'm not a part of the association, I was overruled immediately by Bill Marley, who said we will host it in Bangalore. The Anglican Association in Bangalore will take over the reunion. Malcolm Booth, I think he was the vice president or the secretary of the association in Delhi, was also present. So it's wrong to say they were not offered the reunion. Thank you.
I was at Perth, at the Perth conference. We asked the organisers there to invite us to a meeting, and I asked them, I said, if we're going to come to these organisational meetings, we want to be invited. I said, there's lots of people from different countries here, and can you invite us there just as observers? And what happened 3 years ago is happening again today and yesterday. There's still this mysterious thing going on, and who's running what, who's running that. And what I'm asking is that if you want us, people who are living outside India, to help you, and there's a lady here that I spoke with at the Perth conference, Sister Marissa, and she was there, and she spoke and she was pleading for some money, and then a few minutes earlier or later somebody else spoke and said how many millions they had. But we're not going to resolve any of those problems or these things until everyone in this room knows who the hell's running the show. And I want to know.
But yesterday, while we were entering the Ashoka Hotel, there were a group of less fortunate Anglo-Indians standing outside demonstrating. Now, they are not in a privileged position like we all are, and they were unable to attend that function. They were promised categorically by a certain person that they would be able to enter with very, very reduced costs. Those promises were not kept. They are Anglo-Indians like us, and they have a right to be with us.
Nobody made any commitment to them about that. Somebody else is not from me.
Mr. Fernandez is avoiding the issue. I will go on to the next. Excuse me. Yes, that we have all paid a certain fee, whether it is in US dollars or sterling pound. And the fee that was proposed to us was meant to subsidize our brethren in India.
I think every Anglo all over the world has the right to attend the reunion. Yes or no? Yeah. And why is not every Anglo from the States, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand here? They can't afford the trip, right? They can't afford the
I find myself, I'm being very honest with you, in a difficult position. My husband and I belong to the All India Anglo-Indian Association, and we acknowledge that there are various branches in various countries. But we have come to this particular get-together to meet you and to meet other folks. There may be a few people who know us, but we've met some charming people whom we've never seen before. And that was the whole purpose of coming here. And we had nothing to do with the organization. Now this afternoon, when Mr. Richards asked me, would I chair one portion of the symposium, I agreed, happily. Because we have here list of topics which we want to talk about amongst each other. But now I find we've drifted off to something that is quite beyond the bounds of what we were supposed to be doing this afternoon. And I feel that perhaps we ought to plan something where we can get together and talk about these very important points about which you are very concerned. We can see that you are very concerned about it. Unfortunately, as chairperson, I feel I have to keep to the narrow track and bring you back the position of the Anglo-Indian community in India. We've heard Mr. Valentine, and without more ado, I'd like to call on Miss Venetia Nero. But that doesn't mean that I'm
I have one more question, one more announcement to make.
Yes?
I would like somebody from this community to actually get on stage and apologize to every single Anglo-Indian sitting here. Because on Sunday, in one of the Indian national papers, a very damaging report was written against Anglo-Indians. And as an Anglo-Indian, I have taken that as a personal slur. So whoever is responsible for that article in the newspaper, if you are but a gentleman, you would eventually come up here and apologize to all of us for what you have written. Thank you.
Many pages here for biodata. I should go through it briefly because I'm sure you will be interested to know what our young people are capable of doing today. Venetia was born in 1966. She's married and has a son, 7 years old.
Can't hear you. Speak louder.
Venetia was born in 1966. She's married and has a son, 7 years old, and lives in Anglo. She finished her secondary school leaving certificate from St. Tracy Memorial High School, did a diploma in personal secretarieship in Darvas College, and has also done a diploma in airline ticketing, travel agency management, Karnataka Institute of Airline Ticketing. She has done many things in the computer line and is presently enrolled for an MPhil program which will continue into the PhD on Anglo-Indians. She is an associate member of the National Institute of Professional Secretaries. She can speak a number of languages: English, Kannada, Hindi, Tamil and Telugu. She can also read a number and write, both in English and Kannada. She was recently awarded she was the regional winner as Secretary of the Year contest and the All India first runner-up as Secretary of the Year 1996 to 1998. Maybe give her a clap for all the years she's achieved.
We ought to accept that the basic educational level of Anglo-Indians has increased considerably. Several of us are going in for higher studies and help in this area is available, thanks to the various Anglo-Indian associations both in India and abroad. Today's parents are extremely eager to give their children as high an education as possible.
How many of us have heard, sitting near our grandmothers, stories of our families? Or we listen to it, we listen to this oral history. It's not written down. So much of our history is not written down, and it's got to be done. And Cheryl is going to talk to us about a oral history project. Thank you, Cheryl.
Although I was born an Anglo-Indian, I was raised Anglo-Indian, but I never really identified as one. My parents both passed away in 89 and 90. I think many of you would have known my father, who was Lawrence Carrera, who taught at St. Xavier's College for 30 years in Calcutta. And once my parents were gone, I found myself asking a lot of questions about my origins and roots. And this project came out of that analysis, and I'd like to share it with you. I'm calling this the Anglo-Indian Oral History Project, and it will consist of a collection of audio-taped histories of individual Anglo-Indians around the world, capturing their recollections, thoughts, and traditions in a vibrant, colorful format that will personalize and add a rich dimension to the history of the Anglo-Indian community.
Unlike some of my earlier academic research, my work on Anglo-Indian women began from a very subjective perspective. Growing up as an Anglo-Indian girl and woman in Calcutta, and then migrating outside India, I had very distinctive experiences that I believe emanated from the fact that I was an Anglo-Indian woman. Experiences related to a sexual identity where one was considered sexually available because there were certain assumptions about the sexual mores of Anglo-Indian women that at times were very infuriating and frustrating. And as somebody who reads a lot, not just academic work but popular fiction, I again repeatedly encountered representations of Anglo-Indian women, not in books that dealt with Anglo-Indians, but books where Anglo-Indians were always the exotic backdrop. And inevitably the Anglo-Indian woman was a prostitute, a whore, sexually available, etc. And I thought, well, maybe there's some truth to this, but I should go back and look at history as it evolved from the beginnings of the community and just see what the veracity was. I firmly believe that one should not try to escape the truth, but one should try to check, verify, and understand it. And I firmly agree with what Keith said this morning. I'm a historian, but I work in the area of cultural studies, and I feel this is a contribution that I can make to our community both in India and abroad to try and get a better understanding and establish a sense of dignity, because I feel a lot of the problems that the community faces in India today result from this sense of disempowerment, isolation, marginalization, and the sexualized, gendered identities are very much, I still feel, a part of it. So what I'd like to do for the first couple of minutes is just randomly read you some of these excerpts that I came across that I found really infuriating. Some of the books I'm referring to you may have already read. Okay? And I'll pick up both from fiction and sort of travelogues spanning several decades. The first work is a book called, a fictional work called The Eurasians that was written in 1913 by a man named William Decker. And there's a section over there where a British enlisted soldier describes a Eurasian. Okay? He says, the station master, a Brahmin nigger, hopping about too, his muslin draperies fluttering about him like a female's skirts, ordering the guards to make the arrest. There were 3 guards on the train, good enough looking beggars like dark Europeans with English clothes. But they weren't men, Jerry, they were Eurasians. Do you know what an Eurasian is, Jerry? And the half part of a nigger, but not the 20th part of a man. Never you trust an Eurasian, Jerry, if you meet one. You twist in your fingers like a false stool. And lucky you, if you're not wounded. A nigger is a devil most times, but an Eurasian is not a proper human being. One wonders when you read this whether the author actually believes this or not, but after a time, these repetitive representations become superfluous.
There are women who have fallen into prostitution from the Anglo-Indian community, from every community, not because they are genetically programmed to do that, but because of economics. That's the point. In a society that's male-dominated, a woman very often will pay the ultimate sacrifice because of economics. To my mind, that's a very important point.
I thank you. It surprised me and I was really happy also that most of you felt embarrassed about this little article written in today's papers. I read it this morning too and I was ashamed. But let me tell you what an article written in a magazine in Calcutta, which had no response, and that's what makes me feel so stupid and so sad about you. Somebody had written an article, a letter to a friend, which was published in a magazine in Calcutta, and this magazine is circulated internationally. And you know what the article was about? It was about a person, somebody who had visited Calcutta, seen the poverty in Calcutta, describes this poverty to his friend in a letter, and the set of the letter was,
published in a magazine. Now, that was one thing that this person said, that Calcutta is full of Anglo-Indian beggars, which is wrong. Okay? The second point was that Calcutta Anglo-Indians are so downtrodden and so poor that this person quotes an example and says that a lady had lost her husband, and this husband was lying on the, she had no money to bury this man, and this man was lying on the on a pavement for a whole day. She covered his body with a sheet, and she was begging for money for a burial. Such a ridiculous letter. No cops in Calcutta will allow a dead person to lie on the streets for a whole week, for a whole day. All the churches in Calcutta look after people who are on the streets, and people who die on the streets, and people who work or live on the streets. The churches do help them, but to write such a disgusting letter and to publish it.
Come taste the wine, come hear the band, come blow your horn, start celebrating, sway your tail, baby. What was inventing? Some prophet of doom to wipe every smile away. Like bees of cabaret, come to the cabaret. This song speaks for itself. This is what you're in for this evening. Whining, dining, and a live band a little later on, ladies and gentlemen.